G'day, Randy here. Welcome back to part 2 of this American War of Independence playthrough using the Peter Pig rules. I'll put a link to part 1. Part 1 we did the setup. If you've watched that, you'll know that the setup's quite involved, and then we also covered the first 2 turns. I made a few mistakes in those turns. I went back and fixed a couple. I'm actually working away for the next 2 weeks, so I'm just whipping down here and doing a turn when I can. The advantage of that is I've had a bit of a read through the rules and I've picked out a few more mistakes that I've made, and I'll hopefully correct those along the ways. I'll bring them up as they come into play. I mean, for example, the artillery can actually move and then deploy. Previously, I thought all manoeuvres must be done before any movement, and that is certainly true for infantry and cavalry, but the exception to that rule is guns can move and then deploy, and cavalry can move and then dismount. So I got that a bit wrong. And also, guns require 2 pips, not 1, to limber up or run limber. So there's a few things like that I've missed. I'm never going to get everything all right, but we'll soldier on. Right, British turn. They've got morale checks. I'm not looking forward to this. They took a bit of a pasting in the first round, so for every morale marker they've got a roll of dice, and depending on how many 4-ups they get, that's going to affect the result. So let's start by taking a look at their central command. We'll go with the Highlanders, 71st. They've got 1 morale marker, so they'll roll 1 dice. They're disordered, so that'll add another dice. There's no enemy near them. They're not testing for destruction. Any mounted commander within 6 inches, -1 dice. So they definitely have got that, so they can take a dice away. So they're going to roll 1 dice. And they got 1 fail, which is steady. Units is allowed formation change, wheel, 1 wheel, no movement increments. So they're stuck standing where they are, and that counter now comes off. Unfortunately, due to tactical errors on my part, the 46th deployed into line right in the face of some determined American resistance, and they have got 4 morale chits, so they're going to take 4 dice. They are disordered, so they're going to take another one, and they are a raw unit because they went down a morale grade. So they're going to roll 6 dice, wanting 3s or less. And they've rolled 4 and above. +4, run. The unit is routed. So they're gone. They're off. So they came out and they got smashed. That's a horrific blow for the British. I blundered that something fierce. Now every unit within 6 inches of them must take a morale check as well. Actually, I take it back. It's 6 inches, so it's doubled. So it will be these guys, and it will be the Hessians. So these guys will take a morale check. They've got to roll 2 dice for the disappearing unit, 1 dice because they're disordered, but they lose a dice because they have a commander next to them. And they're fine. Unfortunately, the Hessians also saw the 46 fall back through the village, so they also have to test. It's a shame they didn't speak English, because that man waving the hat was trying to warn them that things weren't good, but they couldn't understand him. So they've got 2 dice for watching someone run away. They've got another dice for the disorder marker, but they have got a commander within 6 inches. So, and they've rolled 2 fails. Of course they have. Dear oh dear. 2 fails, fall back. So, D6 plus 1 inch is 5, and we're doubling everything, so that's going to go back 10 inches. So they're going to come back. I think that morale check now goes because they've tested. So the British centre has caved in. The last guys that have to test are the Grenadiers. They've got 2 markers. So that's 2 dice, but they are veterans, so they're going to lose a dice. So they're rolling 1 dice, and they're fine. So those markers come off. So that's morale test done. There's no place replacing any commanders, so it's move commanders. I think this commander is going to attach to the Scots, something I recently read up about, so I'm going to give it a go. Incidentally, there is pointers in the back of the book giving you tactical hints on how to play the game, and I've totally ignored all those. More to my detriment than anything. But he's going to attach to those. This commander is going to stay put, and then I think the only British commander is the left flank one, and I think he's going to move up and talk to the man waving the hat. Right, commanders are moved. We're going to see if our CNC can give our commander here any rerolls. So he's excellent 1, he's average 2, so all pips over 3 are rerolls. And they've rolled 10. 10 minus 3 is going to give them 7 rerolls. 7 rerolls, that's pretty good. British really need to crack something out here because they're in trouble in the centre. I think they're going to start by activating the Scots. Yes, and we'll see they get 6. They're disordered, so that immediately goes down to 4. They're going to try and get rid of the disorder. No, they'll try again. They do. So they've got just 2 pips left. Right, I've had a bit of a faux pas, a bit of a mistake there. It's trucking down when I filmed this, and the cat was outside screaming to come in, so I took a break to negotiate and coming in and not messing anything up. So I let him in, and he did mess things up, and I chased him around and got him out. But the end result was I came back to the table and I completely forgot that the 71st had been disordered, and they'd used up 4 of their 6 pips, losing 2 to disorder and taking 2 rolls to get rid of it. So they couldn't actually fire twice, which they did do. On the plus side, the guns, I also forgot the guns, so I didn't pick this up to editing, so it's too late to wind the clock back. So what I've said is the guns fired first and did the first casualty on the 9th Pennsylvanian, and then the Scots came forward and fired their second round, which you'll see in the video, and did the rest of the damage. It worked out more or less the same. It's too late to go back and move everything back and reshoot it, so I'm just going to have to live with that mistake. One of many, as we do. They're going to move forward into close range. The Americans will get to opportunity fire. They have 5 stands. They're on low ammo. So far they've got 1 hit and 3 re-rolls. So I can either make them re-roll that hand as it is, or I can just let them re-roll. I think I'm going to leave it and let them re-roll. And they end up with 3 hits at close range. So I need to make 3 saves. And I failed 2 of them, so base is going to come off. And they're going to take 2 morale markers, and they're going to test twice for disorder on 6s. No. So now they've used 1 pip to come forward. They're going to fire with 5 shots, 5s or 6s to hit. That's another good round. Re-roll 2s and 1s. Oh, that's 5 hits. Saving on 3 up, because it's Normally threes, close range twos, cover threes. So needing 5 saves. And they failed 4. Ouchie, ouchie. So that's 2 bases gone. Oh, the Pennsylvania boys are melting. They don't need to roll for disorder again, but they will take 4 morale counters, and they're battered, so they are in all sorts of trouble. The reason I moved those guys, the reason I moved these guys up first, because I wanted them to use their opportunity fire, because I was then going to charge in with these guys, but I don't think I need to. They're custard. They've been smashed. Let's try the 64th. Yep, they're active. British dice are on fire. They've seen the 46 run away and they're angry. They've got the gander up. 4, so they've got 4 pips. Now they're in a 3 wide column, so they can move up to twice, I believe. I think they're going to wheel and move up to here and give the guns a bit of a volley. However, because they've moved there, the guns can now opportunity shoot. So they've got 3 pips, 2 pips left because they wheeled and moved. So the guns will crack off the canister and they'll hit on 4s, so that's 1 hit, and the British save it. British are going to return fire with 3 dice. They can use their extra ammo to re-roll, but they don't want to, because they've rolled 2 5s, they're going to roll the 2 again. No, so the Americans need to make 2 saves. Anything but a 1. And they've more than cooked it. They're happy as. Does the extra ammo come off? No. Over to the British centre. I think we'll activate the Hessian guys first because they're average. And they're going to get 4. 1, 2, 3. So they've got just enough. And they are going to get 5 pips. So thinking that they expand out for 1. Takes them down to 4. And they're going to fire at Hartley's lads. 1 for the first volley, 3 for the second. So they will get 2 volleys in. They have 5 in the front rank, and they have these guys just crossing Hartley's boys, so they're going to hit on 5s. The big question is, does the artillery on the hill want to fire first? Because that will be an opportunity fire, and I think they will. They're not in canister range, so they're only going to get 2 shots, but they'll give it a crack. And they'll hit once with a 6, and they must save that on anything but a 1. And they did. So then the British will crack off their first round. 5 dice. They are average, so they can re-roll. They can use their extra ammo to pick up those dice. And they've got 3 dead dice there, so I think they will. They did just about as poorly. They get 2s and 1s because they're average. No, they're only going to get 1 hit. Americans save that. Long range, anything but a 1. So that's a save. And then we'll repeat the process. I think we'll re-roll that again with the extra ammo. Oh, that's worse. 2 rerolls. Not a bean. Has the extra ammo gone? It has indeed. So, the Hessian Grenadiers are rubbish. Rubbish. Let's try and activate the British Grenadiers. And they're more than happy. They get 3 pips. That goes up to 4. Okay, so they've decided to charge, so they'll spend 1 pip to come straight forward. Actually, they'll wheel and come forward. They've still got 2 pips left for the falter test and enough to get in. The light troops can fire opportunity. They can re-roll 1s. They'll get 2 hits. Normally saving on 2s, on 3 up, but because they're at close range, they'll fail 1. So they'll take a half-base casualty, a chit, and a morale disorder check, and they're disordered. Oh, blimey. Come on, Grenadiers. What are you doing, boys? You're going to let these upstarts get the better of you? So then the militia decide they'll call retreat. So they roll 1d6 and take the roll. And they've rolled a 5. Target unit retires 1d6 plus 1 inch. So they're going to retire 3 doubled is 6 inches. And that's their move for the turn. They can't move in the next phase. So they'll move back in the woods, but they did dish it out before they tactically withdraw. Don't know what I was trying to say there, but it didn't come out right. The last thing the British have up their sleeve is their gun. They're going to get 5, which means they get 4 shots. They'll have a crack at Hartley's lads. They'll do 2 hits. I don't think they'll use their extra ammo to re-roll that. That's a pretty good result. I think they need 3s up to save it, and they failed 1, so they're going to take a base off. They're already disordered, so they don't need to roll for that, but they will put down 2 markers, 1 for being hit by artillery and 1 for taking a casualty. So they've got a double morale check next turn. The next thing the British can try and see if they can get the 16th Dragoons on. 4's up. No, they've rolled a 2. So the Dragoons just aren't interested in a fight today. Last thing I did was roll for flankers, and you can see there the Americans outscored the British by 4. So they're leaping ahead in the flanking race. They've now got 4 chits to the British's 2. First 1 to 9 brings these on. The losers go into the reserve pool. Right, over to the Continental turn. First up, we've got this bad boy here. And this is not going to be pretty. Barring a tremendous roll by the Americans, these guys might be going the same way as the 46th. So, they get a dice for every morale chit. That's 6 dice. They're disordered. They are less than 2.5 base units, so they are now considered battered. So that's another 2. They have, however, got a commander within 6 inches, so they -1. So they're rolling 8 dice. They don't want anything higher than a 3. That's a pretty good roll, but they got 3. And 3 is retreat, retire 1d6 and roll for losses. So 1d6 plus an inch doubled. That's 4 doubled, it's 8 inches. So these lads going to come back here. All these markers disappear, but they keep their disorder. And then they'll make a roll for losses. So they roll 3 dice, 4s and above, and they take a half base loss. So they're going to take half base loss. So those boys are good and messed up. We have a morale check, because Hartley's boys, they've got 2 morale counters and a disorder, 3 dice, but they've got a commander within 6, so it goes down to 2. And they've rolled a 1 fail, which means they can only wheel but they can't move. So that's all the chits done. Let's move over to move commanders. I don't think that guy wants to actually move. I'm pretty happy with all the Continental commanders actually, so let's just see if we get any re-rolls with our Commander-in-Chief. The Continental commanders just watched the 9th Pennsylvania abandon the fence line and run back. In saying that, they should have lost the dice for holding a linear defence, I think. Yes, I should have rolled 1 less dice for holding that fence line, but what's done is done, so we'll move on. So he's trying to give these guys some re-rolls, and he does. 1 plus 3 is 4. Gives them 8 re-rolls. Nice. He can't do much with this command. It's kind of buggered now. These boys can't do anything. He's only got these guys to activate. He's going to try and activate them. He has rolled not enough. He needs 5, so he used up 2 re-rolls there. And they have activated. They're going to try and get rid of their low ammo. And they didn't. So there's not much more they can do. We're going to move over to this side of the pitch. I think the second Maryland gets an automatic pip dice because they're coming on, so they get 6. So I think they're going to expand out. These small fences are just there for decoration. I couldn't help myself. They don't cause any disorder. So they've expanded out for 1 pip. They're in a 3 wide column, so they can move up to twice. They're going to wheel for 1 more, and then they're going to double move 12 inches into the field. So they're coming up to plug the gap. So they started with 6, cost them 1 to expand, 1 to wheel, double move down to 2, but it costs them an extra pip in there, so they actually have 1 left, but they don't want to do anything with it. So there you go. Next, I think we'll activate the guns, and they'll just get 1 pip. That's a shocker. No re-rolls, we're out of re-roll range. And they'll shoot and miss completely. So they're going to try and activate the guys in the farmstead. They've got to do something. 2 dice. 8, they'll activate and they'll get just 1 pip. They're not on open order and they're in scenery, so they can't really do anything. So they're stuck there because it costs 2 to move in scenery. So they're not doing anything either. So apart from the 2nd Maryland, the British, the Continental left is frozen. Let's go with the Continental right. The commander will try and activate Hartley's boys, and he does, and they will get 5 pips, but they're disordered, so it immediately goes down to 3. They're going to try and remove the disorder on a 4 up. No, they'll try again. Yep. So that just leaves them 1 pip left. I think they'll fire at those guys for 1. We've only got 4 stands now. leading 5s or 6s, the re-roll 2s, it's on the drain. So they get 3 hits, which is pretty good. At long range, and the British are behind cover, so anything but 1 saves, and they saved them all. The Hessians don't care. The American guns will activate, and they're going to crack 4 rounds into the... I think they're going to shoot... It's a touch and go whether they can hit these guys, so they'll shoot at the Hessians as well, and they're going to get 2 hits. But the Hessians save both of those as well. The last thing to do is the French, and they're good to activate, and they are going to get 5 veterans, 6 pips. I think the French are going to bring it on. I think they're going to wheel for 1 and move forward for 2. So the Hessians can shoot at them with opportunity fire. They're going to get 5 shots. They are only average, so they can re-roll 2s and 1s. They're going to get 3 hits, and the Americans need to save it on 4 up, because they're in the open, and they've gone and done it. They've only gone and saved all of them. Now, they still have 4 pips left, so they can crack off 2 rounds at close range. So let's take a quick zip around the battlefield at the end of that turn. So starting on the continental left, the guns didn't do well. 1 shot, wet powder. The boys in the Saunders farm eating too many chickens, sleepy time now. They're not coming out. They only rolled a 1. The 2nd militia have strolled proudly onto the field though. They're ready for a crack. And the 2nd Maryland are moving up to fill the gap. 9th Pennsylvania are a spent force. They're battered, disordered, and they've got a stand and a half left, so they've gone. The 5th trying to restock ammo, but they failed at that. Crawling across the stream, the French have come forward boldly, fired a few rounds into the Hessians. They did a little bit of damage, but didn't shake them too much. Hartley's boys have just stood there and soaked it up. In the trees, the militia have moved back. They couldn't do anything this turn. They're reforming, and they did do some hurt on the Grenadiers when they charged them, though, with some well-placed shooting. Moving across to the British, the cavalry's still refusing, or still making its way to the battlefield. They took a wrong turn or something. The 64th has come forward. We're going to try and get to the guns, but they might struggle now that the 2nd Maryland's come up through the field. Or the Scots are doing well. They've dealt with 1 battalion. I think they're going to wheel and try and get into the 5th now. The 5th are out of ammo and they're decidedly looking shaky. So it could be the Scots marching to glory. The 46th, they failed. They took a hammering. That was a bad command decision on my part, and they paid the price, and they've gone. Left a bit of a hole in the centre, and the British have got nothing to fill it with, but there's nothing there on the American side that can bother them really. Dunop's lads fell back. They're regrouping, and left the Hessians to try and hold the hedge line by themselves. And across there, the Grenadiers have chased off the light troops, but they've just melted into the trees, and the Grenadiers have got a morale check, and they're disordered, so they've got to try and get their ranks back in order before those guys come back and start shooting at them again. So all in all, good turn. A lot happened. I tidied up a few rules that I got completely wrong in the first couple of turns, which is really good. So let's move on to turn 4. So a quick look at the proceedings. The Americans have stabilised their line here. They've got more reinforcements streaming onto the pitch. The British are also looking good on the sector. They've got a big morale check over there, 2 dice, So they've got to do that next time. These boys, they've got nothing left really. Low ammo, 3 stands. So they could be off next time. Over here, it's a bit of a mixed bag. There's a real firefight going on for the garden. The Continental troops have the upper hand. The Hessians have got 4 morale chits to test, so they'll be rolling a few dice next time. And also the Grenadiers have gone into the woods, and that's not working out too well for them. So it's anyone's game on this side of the flank. Let's leap into the next turn. Right, welcome to turn 5. I know you haven't been anywhere, but I've unfortunately work is getting in the way of a perfectly good hobby, and I've been away for work, so I've just been shooting the odd turn at night. Last turn we had, as you probably heard if you're up to here, we had sound difficulties, cat difficulties, and weather difficulties. We've sorted most of those out, and we're back on track for British turn 5. We're going to start with morale checks. We've got a few. Let's start on their centre brigade and work around from there. Right, so the 64th, they've got 1 dice for the artillery hit and 1 dice for taking a casualty. They have got commander within 6, so they'll lose the dice. So they're just rolling 1 dice. And that's a pass, so they're fine. So these markers come off, and they're back in business. Over here on the British left, we've really only got the Hessian Grenadiers. Now they've got 4 markers, they're average. They are down to 2.5 stands, so their cluster's battered, so that's 2 more dice. But then they are defending a linear obstacle, and they have a commander within 6 inches. So there you go, they're down to 4 dice. Bowling low. Come on, boys. Hang in there. 1 fail, which means they can change formation or wheel, but they cannot move. So they're stuck there holding the hedge. That's a good result. I'm happy with that. The last test we've got is the Grenadiers that are in trouble in the woods. And they've got 2 morale tokens and a disorder, so that's 3 dice. But they are veterans, so they lose the dice. But they are battered. They're down to 2.5 stands, so they're getting 2 dice. So they're rolling 4 dice. And they're going to get 2 fails, which I think is withdraw. 2 fails, fall back, D6 plus 1 inch, and we double that. So that's a 1 plus 1 is 2, doubled, they're going back 4 inches. So they went into the woods, they didn't like it, they're falling back. This side of the British Army is looking decidedly a bit weak. They really need the flank force to turn up, I think. So that's morale checks over and done with. We're up to replace and move commanders. Well, there's no commanders dead. So we're not going to move anyone. We're just going to see if he can add any dice rerolls to this lad. He's got 1 plus 2 is 3, so anything over 3. So he's going to get 6 rerolls, which is kind of handy, hopefully. I think the first thing we'll do is activate the gun. And they'll get 2 pips, so I think we'll use a reroll there to reroll that. And that's a better roll, 5. So I think they'll wheel around and then blaze 4 shots into these lads. It's canister range, so they're hitting on 4s up, and they're going to get 2 hits. Normally saving on 3s. 1 worse for close range, or canister I should say, but 1 better for cover, so anything but 2s or 1s. And they failed 2. Oh dear. So that's going to be, it's going to be a whole base off, and they're going to take an artillery check and 2 markers for the 2 casualties. So they are now battered, and they've got 3 checks on them. And the British can roll 2 dice to see if they disorder them. And they get a 6, so they're also disordered. So, bad way. So, British left might be in a bad place, but the American left is also in a bad place. It's a shame those Scots are so deployed out, because if they're in a a bit smaller formation, narrower formation they could charge, but they're going to activate and they have the commander attached, so they automatically activate and they're going to get 1 pip. Well, we'll use another reroll there. And they're still only going to get 1 pip. Do they shoot or do they wheel around? That's the big question. Man, that's a... Come on, boys, you let me down there. You've let me down there. We're going to wheel into the fence line. They really needed to wheel and crack a volley and try and finish those other guys off. Dear, disappointments. So the 64th are now going to activate. I don't know if I covered this in the last video, but this general brigade is attached to this unit, so it automatically activates. It doesn't have to roll. But when it wants to activate this unit, it now has to add its quality and the quality it's attached to. So 2 and 2 is 4, and then their quality as well is 6. So they're within 6 inches, so it's 6 on 2d6, and they got 7, so they're fine. So these guys will try and ruffle pips, and they're going to use a reroll, and they're going to get 3. So I think they're going to wheel to the fence line for 1, and then they're going to say hello to the 2nd Maryland as they come marching up the field. So they have got 6 dice of goodness. I don't think they're all within 8 inches range, because if they are, the Maryland can opportunity fire. They're not, but the Continental gun can certainly fire, and it's going to give 3 dice canister into these boys, and he hits twice. They're saving on 3s up, and they failed 1, and they've already got half base casualty, so they're going to lose a base. And they'll take a morale chip for the casualty and 1 for being hit by artillery. And then the Americans can try and disorder them, and they only bloody well gone and done it. Oh, that's a blow. So they're sorted. So now, instead of rolling 6 dice and hitting on 5s or 6, they're rolling 5 dice, and because they're disordered, they have to hit on 6s. So that's a blow. I'm going to say those 2 are cocked. Well, just as well I did that. There you go. There's a gift for you boys. And because they're average, they can reroll 2s and 1s. They have extra ammo, so they could pick up the whole hand and re-roll it, but I don't think they want to. I think they want to keep those 2 6s. Can I get one in the middle, please? So they would have had 4 hits there, but they've only unfortunately got 2. And normally saving on 3s, long range, anything but a 1. And they save both of them, so they're fine. So the last thing to do here is activate the cavalry, and they get a free activation because they don't need a commander, and they've just turned up on the field, and they're going to roll 3. So I think for 3, they'll change into a 2-wide column. They've got 2 pips left. They can move 8 inches a turn, 8 and 8 is 16. So they're going to track down the road. I'm going to say that they're not getting road movement because they're just too wide a formation at this stage. So that's the British turn on the centre done. Let's move to their fragile left. They're going to choose to activate the Hessian Grenadiers, and they do, and they're going to get 3 pips. But before they do anything, I think the Hartley's boys are going to give them a round of opportunity fire. And they have 4 stands, 5s or 6s to hit. They can re-roll 2s and 1s, but they've got none. They've just got 1 hit, and the Hessians are saving that on a 2, anything but a 2 or a 3. So they save that. I don't think I'll fire the guns on the hill on opportunity, and I don't think the French will fire at them I think the French will fire at these guys. No, I think the French will also opportunity fire on these dudes. 3 bases. They are veterans, so they get to re-roll 1, 2s, and 3s, but they still only get 1 hit. Again, it's anything but a 2 or 1. And they didn't save it, so they're going to take another base off. Oh, jeepers. Jeepers, jeepers, jeepers. Can they be disordered? They blinking well can. So they're they're battered, disordered, and pretty much knackaroonied. Dear oh dear. Thanks for coming, lads. Time to go home. Time to go home and cook some sausages. Casualties are mounting up. Right, so they've got 3 pips, so they can't even fire twice because 1 for the first round and 3 for the second. So they can fire once, they get 2 shots, they're disordered, so they're hitting on 6s. And they can't hit a bean. They can re-roll the 2. No, nothing. They're in a bad way. Bad, bad, bad. All right, so he'll try and activate these boys. They're not. And he does. How many pips do they get? 1. Well, they're only disordered, so they don't get it. They can get 1 re-roll at trying to get rid of it. And a 4 up. And no, they don't. So it's chaos in the paddock. The Germans are falling to pieces. The British are actually in quite a bad way. So let's go over to the Grenadiers outside the woods. 8. 1 for the Grenadiers, 1 for the commander, a couple for the distance, and 1 they're fine. So how many pips do they get? They get 1. It goes to 2 because of Grenadiers, but they are disordered, so it goes back down to 1. Can they rally? No, they can't. Dear oh dear. Last thing we've got is the British guns. They're going to get 2 pips. They're going to have 2 cracks at Hartley's boys. They've got extra ammo, so they'll re-roll. They get 1 hit. Is their ammo gone? No, it isn't. Hartley's boys are in the open. I don't think that's a save. No, they're in effective range, so that's going to be a casualty on them. So they're going to take a half artillery morale check and a normal check, morale chit, and a half-base casualty. Can the British disorder them? No, they can't. So that's the British turn done and dusted. The only thing left is rolling for flanking forces. Okay, I've rolled the flanking dice, 13 British, 12 American, and the British won by 3, so their flanking chits are up to 5 now, and the Americans are on 4. Continental turn 5. We've got these lads to test. Oh, lordy, lordy. They took 2 casualties, so they got 2 dice. They took a casualties from artillery, so they take another dice. They're battered. They take another 2 dice, and they're disordered. So they take another dice. However, they have a commander, so they remove a dice, and they're lining a fence, so they remove another dice. That's only 1 fail. So they're going to just stand there with no ammo, disordered, going, what do we do, boss? What do we do? The next check is Hartley's lads. 2 dice, but they have a commander close, so it's just 1 dice. And they fail. So they can't move either, but they probably don't want to. They're probably just warming up their muskets right now. Over to move commanders. Well, he's finished watering his horse. So he's got more than enough movement to come over and chat to this lad. Let's finish these Germans off, sir. To be honest, we might want to move this commander because he wants to get round to motivate this fresh militia unit that's coming up. So he's going to roll 3 dice. He's going to get 12. doubled because we're doubling everything. So it's 24. So I think he's gonna ride across and get there. Let's see if they have a chat, see if they can get any re-rolls here. And they certainly can. They're going to get 7 re-rolls. So that's pretty good. Can't complain about that. Right, I think when we're here, we might as well start on this flank. I think the guns will just try and resupply. And they can't. There's no more ammo. The British nicked it all in the pre-start game. So they might just have to blaze on without resupplying. I think Hartley's boys will activate on a 3. I think I'll re-roll both of those. We can't have that. That's better. And they're going to get 3 pips. Whoa. Do I re-roll that? Greedy. You know what happens when I do that? God. I'm going to re-roll it. Oh! Huh. Shut the gates. It happens every time. I don't know why I keep doing it. Why do I keep doing it? They're going to fire on the Hessians, but the Hessians get opportunity fire, so they're going to fire. And they're going to get nothing. And Hartley's boys have got 4 shots. Re-rolling 2s and 1s. And they're going to get 2 hits. Saving on 3 up. And they saved both of those. So that was a non-event. Activating the French. Yes, they're fine. And they're going to get 5 pips. Grenadiers, they go up to 6 pips. I think Dunop's lads are going to fire first on opportunity. 3 shots, but they are disordered, so they're going to need 6s. And they've only gone and rolled 2 6s. The French are in the open, and they're at close range, so anything they need, 4s up they need. Oh, and they just go and roll 4s up. They can't go wrong, these French boys. So now they're going to... They've got 6 pips. Do they charge in, or do they crack 2 volleys off? Oh, pause the video. Okay, sadly, they want to charge in. They want to have a crack, but sadly, I just don't think they've got the stands to do it. The Dunop regiment is still mint, so I think they're just going to wheel for 1 and then crack off 2 volleys. So first volley, they can re-roll those because they're veterans. They're still only going to get 1 hit. And the British save that easily. Or the Germans. Next volley, they can re-roll 3s and 2s. And they get 1 hit again. Oh, that's on a model. Really want to give it to them. Oh, 2. Normally 3s, short range 1s cover 2, so they failed, and that's a base off. That's a base off. And a chit, don't need to roll for disorder because they're already disordered. Last mission is the guys in the woods. Now, they're over 12 inches away, so that's 2. The commanders are 1, so that's 3. And they are 2, so that's 5. And they're in the woods 6. So 6 on 2d6 to activate. And they do. And they are going to get 4 pips. We're not re-rolling that, greedy boy. We're going to take our 4. Right, I've had a bit of a ready of the rules. And units in cover can shoot up to 6 inches. So The British fell back out of 6 inches, so the Americans are going to spend a pip to move up to within 6 inches, and then they're going to crack one volley off. They can only get one volley in because it costs them a pip to move up, and the first leaves them with only 3 pips. So let's go. They can re-roll 2s and 1s. They only get one hit. It's close range, but they're in cover, so 3 up save, and the British save it easily. We're down to the American centre. Let's activate this chap here. He's going to motivate the guns. He doesn't have to motivate them, sorry. They're going to roll 5, so they're going to get 4 shots at the poor 64th. And they're going to hit nothing. Nothing. And they only need to do 4s. Useless. They might spend another pip and turn around because they forgot about the cavalry coming down the road. Jeepers. We'll activate the 2nd Maryland. 2 dice. Come on. Yep, they're fine. And they're going to get just 1 pip. Well, they may as well fire. And they're going to get 3 hits. British are saving on anything but a 1 because they're behind cover at long range. And they saved everything. So the only thing left to activate is the boys that are in Saunders residence, and they've rolled fine, and they're going to get 4 pips. Well, I think they're coming out. They're armed with rifles, and I think they're going to have a crack at that cavalry. So they wheeled and came out, which cost them an astounding 3 pips. 1 for the wheel and 2 to move through scenery. They will be at long range, but they'll get 4 shots. And they can re-roll 2s and 1s because they're average. And they'll get 2 hits. So they're saving on 2s, 1s, 3s up. So they've failed to save 1, so they're going to take half-base casualty. And because I hit by rifles, they take an extra morale chit. So they take 2 morale chits, and the British get to see if they can, the Continentals see if they can disorder them. Rolling for disorder. No, they can't. So over to the Central Brigade. We'll activate what's left of the 9th Pennsylvania. Yes, and they'll activate. And they're going to get 5 pips. So I think they turn around for 1 and they'll form a column. 3 pips left, and they're going to use them. Let's come right around here. Oh, they've got to go straight back, sorry. So 3 moves. They're waving at the fresh troops as they come on, see they've had enough. Let's go with the militia. Double 6s. Oh boy, they're keen. And they're going to get 6. They're really, really keen. I think they're going to expand out for 1. They're going to move up for 2 more. So 5, they're down to 2. And I think they're just going to crack around off at the Scots. Oh. And they've done 2 hits. The British save anything on a 1 but a 2 or a 2. And they've saved it all. They've saved a lot. Last thing we've got to do is try and activate the poor old 5th Pennsylvanian. We'll roll a couple of dice because they're quite a way away. They might not activate. No, they won't activate. So they'll just get 1 pip and they'll try and remove disorder with that. And they do. So there you go. So the last thing to do is drop the time clock. And it goes down by 2. So we're down to 6 turns to go. First up, morale checks for the British. They're disordered. They've got 2 chits, so that's 3, minus 1 for the general and minus 1 for the fence. So 1 dice, and they passed. So these come off. The cavalry just out of sight there. they've got 2 chits, and they've got to fail both of them. God, 16 degrees. Why did you even bother turning up? To retire, they just got on the pitch and they've got to retire. They've come on. They've decided they've taken one guy's got a lame horse and they've turned around. So 3 double that 6. So they're going to go back 6 inches. Useless. Thanks for putting in the hard yards, boys. Okay, down here, morale chit, disorders 2 dice. General within 6, lose a dice. Behind the field, lose a dice. So I don't think they roll at all. I think they're fine. And the boys next to them, it's a different story because they are disordered. They've got a morale chit. They add 2 dice because they're battered, so there's 4. But they take those 2 dice off because they're lining an obstacle and they've got a general. So they're just rolling 2 dice. And they fail both, so they are withdrawing. And they're withdrawing 8 inches. So the Grenadiers are saying, see you later, we've done our bit. And they pull back to here. The whole British flank is in complete disarray. The only commander we want to move is this lad. And he's got more than enough dice to go over there. The British are in danger of losing the only objective they managed to take. Really, they're in a bit of a bad way over here. Right, I don't think those generals need to move. I think they're pretty happy where they are. So can the British CNC give our lad that's attached the 71st any rerolls? -3. He goes down to 3. So he's got 3 rerolls. I think we'll start with the guns because I really like to shoot 5th Pennsylvania to bits. I think we'll use a reroll for that. 3 dice. In canister, so needing 4s to hit. And they could hit a sausage. Useless. I think we'll activate the Scots next, and they're going to get 6 pips. So I think they're just going to stand still. So they don't want to come forward because these guys are on their flank. They're just going to crack 2 rounds into these oncoming lads. So they've got 5 stands. You can re-roll 2s. That's 3 hits. Militia are saving on anything but a 1. Sorry, 2s are a fail as well. They've saved all those. British will fire again. Re-rolling 2s. And they're going to get 3 again. And the Americans are going to save those. No worries. It's all good, mate. Next, we'll try and activate these lads. So there are 2, 2, 2. So it's going to be 6 up. And they activate. And they're going to get 2 pips. Well, we're going to use a reroll. And they're still going to get 2 pips, which goes down to 1 because they're disordered. And they're going to try and get rid of the disorder. And they do. So not a very good round for the British in the centre, and they really needed a good round in the centre. Victory is slipped away from them. Over here, it's not looking much better because everyone's disordered or beaten up, or disordered and beaten up, or disordered, beaten up and running away. So whichever way you look at it, the eggs are cooked. The general's going to try and activate the Knots boys. He does. And they're going to get 6 pips. They're disordered, so it goes down to a 4. They're going to try and rally. No, they'll try again. Yep. So they've got 2 pips left, which means they can fire once. Opportunity fire is now kicked in, and the French will give them a little tasty treat before they can fire. So the French are firing 3 dice. They're re-rolling 2s. No, they just get 1 hit. British save that on a 2-up. And they do. So they have got 2 pips because they had 6 and went down to 4. So they will expand out for 1 more pip and then fire 4 shots. And they've got extra ammo, so they might pick that hand up again and re-roll it. They can re-roll the 2. They can re-roll the 2. They can re-roll the 2. No, they only get 1 hit. Has the extra ammo burnt off. No. The French need a 4-up save because they're in the open. And they do it. Think we'll fire the British guns on the hill. Oh, that was going to be a 5. Come on, Wavy Man. It's gone down to a 2. 2 on Hartley's, boys. 2 hits. 2 hits. 1 didn't save, so they're going to take a base off. And they're going to take 2 morale chits, 1 for the loss of the base and 1 for being hit by artillery. Can the British disorder them? They blinking well can. Oh, yeah. Now, that's interesting. That's interesting. And it is. They won't activate. They're too far away. But they'll get 1 residual pip. And they still can't get this act together. They still can't get rid of that disorder. Useless. So that's it for the British because the cavalry can't do anything. They retired last turn, and the Hessian Battalion Grenadiers, the unmotivated boys, they did the same. So it's over to the flanking marchers. So if flankers, roll for that. British had another great roll. They got 3 more. So they're sitting on 8. They're 1 off coming on, but man, it's just too late. You left your run too late, boys. Because there's only 6 turns left in the game, and if the Americans roll a 6 this time, she's all over Red Rover. Americans only got 1 morale check. It's hard, these lads. They've got 2 morale chits, and they're disordered, so that's 3 dice. They're not quite battered, but they've got a general handy, but just 2 dice. And they've failed 1, so they won't be moving. They've been having a bit of trouble getting motivated since they got out there. So they're just sitting there again. Let's go to moving generals. I think these 2 lads are fine. I think these 2 lads will just move up. I think he'll attach to him and he'll just come up to there, get a bit closer to those other lads. So that's general's move. I haven't rolled for those because they're moving so short distances, I can't really fail. Next we'll do, if the commander can hand on any re-rolls to the right flank there. He's rolled 4. So they're just scraping with 2 re-rolls. Lordy. 2's better than none, I think. We might as well start down here. Oh, those bloody guns won't reload. Let's activate the French first. I know, I think we'll be re-rolling something now. We'll use 1 re-roll and just re-roll 1 of those dice. We're gamblers. We're gamblers here. And that's enough because the French are veterans. He's a 1. So technically they only need 2, but double 1s is always a fail and double 6s is always a pass. So they've re-rolled. They're going to get... Lordy. So they'd be up to 2. That's just not enough. I think I'm going to use the other re-roll and re-roll that. 6. So they go up to 7. Yeah. That's what we want. I think the ops boys are going to give them a volley before they decide to do anything, before they can even change their pants, because they're reformed now. So they've got 4 stands, and they're going to... Now, I've got 1 success and 2 re-rolls, but I have got ammo, so I could pick that up and re-roll the whole. I think I'm going to pick that up and use my extra ammo and re-roll that. And I mean, I'm worse off. I'm always worse off when I do that. So has the ammo gone? No, but I can re-roll the 2. So they've got 2 hits. The British, the French need to save that on a 4-up because they're in the open and they're at close range. And they only got and failed it twice. Shot to ribbons. Shot to ribbons. They're gone. So that's 2. Can the British disorder them? No. So they're now battered down to 2 bases. The Germans are making a comeback. So the French had 7, so they're going to get two volleys, but not much of a volley anymore. First volley is 2 dice. They can re-roll those because they're veterans. They still, that's unnerved them. They can't shoot anything. They can re-roll that. Oh, that's on a model. So they're going to get 2 hits back, but the Germans are saving on 3-ups because they're behind cover. They can't save one of them. Can the Americans disorder them? No. So they're going to take a half-bash casualty and take a chit. It's the battle of the bloody field. It's a mess. Both sides have shot each other to ribbons there. Hartley's boys will try and activate. They can. They're going to get 2 chits, but they're disordered, so it's going to go down to the residual 1. And they can't get rid of their disorder. The guns are going to, on the hill, are going to activate and shoot with low ammo at the Hessians. They rolled a 5, so they're going to get 4 shots. And they've rolled 2 hits, but because they're low ammo, the British player can force them to pick those dice up and re-roll them, and he thinks he will because he doesn't want 2 hits. But he's going to take 2 hits even if he doesn't want it or not. So, and he doesn't save one of those. Oh my gosh. Are they disordered? Oh, they only are. Oh, they can't, they're already disordered. They're going to take half-base casualty, and then it's going to take 2 morale checks because 1 for the casualty and 1 for being hit by artillery. So it's not looking good for those lads. It's a swinging battle for this field. My gosh. Okay, over here we'll try and activate the militia. 4. I don't think that's going to be enough. In fact, they're 2 and he's 1, so that's that gone, and they're in the woods and they're over 12 away. So no, so they only get 1 pip, and they're going to use that to shoot. However, I think the Grenadiers are going to fire first. They get 3 shots. They're disordered, so they're hitting on 6s. But they re-roll 2s and 1s. They still only get 1 hit. And the Americans save it. And the Americans will come back with 4. And they'll hit twice. And the British won't save 1. Oh my gosh. So they're going to lose a full stand. They're already disordered. They are going to take a morale check. Nothing left of the British Army on that flank. Over into the centre, the Americans will activate the militia. Yeah. Oh, no, they won't. Good gravy, that's terrible. Because that's 3, he's 3 and they're 2, so he needs a 5-up. So the Continental Centre's just fallen over. Well, I think these guys will expand out for 1. Everyone gets a residual pip. These guys will fire for 1. 5 dice. Wow, that's a pretty good roll. 3 hits. Lucky, I bought 3 dice with me. They all save though. The guns will try and activate. Yeah, and they get 4. They're going to shoot at this kid. They're going to shoot at the cavalry. And they're going to get 2 hits. But the cavalry are going to save it this time. The rifleman might crack off a shot. They're going to get 1 hit. And the cavalry save it because they're behind cover and at long range. These boys will try and recover ammo. And they do. Oh my gosh, well, they only needed a few bullets because there's like that many of them left. The last thing that's going to happen is the British guns are going to opportunity fire into them. And they're going to get 1 hit. And the Americans just laugh at him. Laughing. So that's the whole Americans done. Last thing to do is the turn dice. And roll to 6, and that's the end of the game. Holy bejeebers. So he's all over. Recapping the whole game, you can see here, these boys, they didn't do much. They had a lot of chicken, and that's about it. They came out and sniped at the dragoons, who weren't really keen anyway. The 2nd Maryland and the unit of militia have successfully plugged the gap in the centre, I think. Those boys are pretty spent, and the Pennsylvanian, both 9th and the 5th, gone burgers, they're done. Crossing the stream, it really looked like the French and Hartley's boys were going to snatch that objective. They've come on strong, but man, that was just a bloody fight in that field, and I think they've just run out of steam. The Knops boys are still there. They've got extra ammo. They're lighting the hedge. The French, if they're still going, would be morale checking. They've got 2 chits. They're battered, so they'd be rolling at least 2 dice. I mean, they're veteran and they've got a commander there, but they're getting down. Over here, the same things happen. The same things happen with all the British grenadiers and the Hessians. The Hessian grenadiers are gone. They weren't really keen on the fight in the first place. That turncoat must have come from their unit and they've flagged it. So, yeah, they've battered each other to a pulp on this flank. We'll quickly roll the victory dice and see what our result was, but all in all, it's a pretty good fight. A few things I got wrong. I got a lot of things about the artillery. It can move and unlimber, and it activates even if the brigade goes hesitant, for lack of a better word. One thing I've picked up in this last turn that I haven't been doing is when you cross a linear obstacle, like a hedge there, that costs you an extra movement chit. And of course, at the start of this game, I think 2 turns in, I picked up that the second volley required 3 pips, not 2. So all in all, she was a pretty good game. Right, let's do the victory dice and then we'll call it there. Right, I added up all the victory dice and rolled them, and it came out that the British only got 41 and the Continentals got 78, which was a win by over 34. So the nature of the win is a slaughter. The whole army has been shattered. No units remain in the field. We have chased down the general and we have captured the powder and horses. That's what the attackers, the winner's narrative reads as, and the loser's narrative is most of the units have fallen back en route, sir. The dragoons will cover the withdrawal. I doubt it, because they were useless. The going looks bad without our carts and supplies. So there you go, smashing victory for the Continentals. Good first outing for the Scots, I feel. I mean, if you made it through the end, thanks for watching, even if you watched a little bit. Thanks for watching. Pointless in saying that though, because you're probably not here anymore. Cheerio.